From this point, all we have left is to pour the ready mix concrete in. That usually takes about 5 minutes. So pay attention to how we do this, because I've seen people take a lot of time doing this. There's no need to. It can go really fast. Now what we're going to do at this point, we're going to check the slump of the concrete. We're going to see what it looks like. So we'll just have him run a little bit out. Don't let him run 2 or 3 wheelbarrows out. Just run enough so that you can see the consistency. And then we'll adjust the water content of the concrete accordingly. When you're pouring this, you want to be careful not to get concrete outside of the cut on the asphalt. Later, that concrete will stay there. And it's, you know, when you're doing a repair like this, you want it to look nice. It's part of being professional. So don't let your guys slop concrete all over the road. There's no need to do it. Just take a little extra time and caution, communicate with the driver, and you can make a nice, neat repair without having concrete all over the place. Another aspect of this is we don't want concrete on the lid of the manhole. So to keep that from happening, we just take one of our debris prevention mats and we lay it on the lid just while we're putting the concrete in from the truck. And then we just take it off and go to the next manhole. That's about the consistency you want it. I wouldn't want it much wetter than that, because if you get on any kind of a slope with that, it's not going to be staying up. We don't vibrate this until we get it all the way to the top. There's no real need to vibrate it at this point. Now we put the first rebar ring in. We'll let him run it to about that height right there. Put the second one in. Down just a little bit. Now we're going to go all the way to the top. Okay, the final rebar ring. Push it down about 3 inches. Remove the mat. The main thing we're after with the vibrating is obviously we're consolidating the entire ring, but we want to get the concrete under the flange of that casting. That's what's giving us our structural stability there. It's under the casting, it's locking in under and around the casting. We want to make sure there's no air voids. So that's what the vibrating process is about. We're using a battery-powered DeWalt vibrator, running on an 18-volt battery. That's a nice little vibrator. The one thing that you can do here, if you had a huge vibrator, an electric one, you could shift the whole repair sideways. That's why we've selected this. It's getting just about the right amount of vibration to not move the repair, but still get the concrete consolidated in under that casting trim. I want to point out one thing to you guys that are repairing. We don't want a hump right here, because little humps translate to big bumps in cars. We don't want that. We want to go from the frame, point A, so keep it clean when you're magging this off or floating this off. From here to the road, it needs to be one plane. No dip, no hump. We've gone to this extreme to take this manhole out and replace it and repair it. Let's get it done right. It's not that hard to do. Train your guys to be sensitive about that. Make sure it's flat. Now what we're going to do is take an edger. Hold that up, Galen. That's called an edger. It's going to put a radiused edge on the outside of this repair. Here again, you want to be have a little finesse, because you don't want to change the elevation of the concrete. All you're doing is putting a little radius on it. You'll see later in the process why we're doing this. We're opening up a joint to pour some sealant in. We want to seal that interface between the concrete repair and the existing asphalt. So we make that little radius to pour that material in. Now you can see that they've got this thing fairly smooth. This isn't the finished product, but they've got it fairly smooth. The next function is going to be applying the dye, the black dye. The next function will be applying the black dye on the surface and working it in. This isn't extremely difficult, but it takes a little common sense. You don't want to over apply this material. I'll show you how we do it here. We've got this beautiful Folgers plastic can with the top. We drilled some, looks like 1/4-inch holes in it. We got the black powder in there. This is the powder that ships to you with all of your material packages. And this allows you to apply it. And, you know, we try to get a nice cover on this thing. In other words, don't put all the powder right there and think that's going to do the job. Spread it out to the edges. Bring a little bit right to the edge here and just go around in a circle. Make sure you cover everything nice and even. It doesn't take a huge amount of it. But you want to get enough on so that you're black. Remember that what looks really black today, in a week or two, is not going to look that way. It'll be bright, it'll be gray because it cures out, it lightens up in the sun. And you can also see how if you put too much on, it's going to dry the surface up really fast. So you've got to kind of it's just a little bit sensitive as far as how much you put on and the way you work it in. If you've got a crew of guys that don't know a lot about concrete finishing, they're probably going to have a little learning curve on getting these things to look beautiful. This guy here has been doing it for years, and he's making it look really easy. A lot of it has to do with the angle of the mag as you're using the mag around there. You can tilt it up a little bit more if the material seems sticky, so you're kind of breaking that suction. Don't let your guys sprinkle water on it. Water weakens the surface of concrete and it'll start to flake off, so don't let them do that. Settle for a little bit less beauty in the finish and get a higher quality repair by not putting water on it. Now once he gets this all magged off, we call these magnesium floats, so we call them mags. Once he gets it magged or floated, then we're going to brush it in a circle, and you're going to see him do that. Try to do this brushing process in a way that's a perfect circle around the manhole lid. It just looks nicer. You've spent this much time to make a quality repair, why not make it look nice? Just follow those circles right around. Okay, now you're going to see why we put the radius edge on the concrete. We use that edging tool to make the radius edge, and this is why. We're going to seal this edge with this crack filler. This is the pourable brewer coat asphalt crack filler that ships with the material packages. You'll get enough of this to do 20 manholes with each of the material units. And it just, you cut the spout off about right there, and it'll pour right in there. All we're trying to do is just fill that crack, so just let it pour out. If it's cold weather, you want to keep it warm in the cab of the truck. Again, any of these steps that you're seeing here, they're all reflected in the specifications that are downloadable on our website. So you can check if you don't understand any of this, or if you've got any questions, or if your engineers have questions about any of the specifications or the materials. It's all in the specs. Download it, print it, take a look at it, make sure you understand it. If you're going to do this kind of work, you ought to be able to answer the questions that engineers and administrators of municipalities are going to ask you. Know your product. Okay, the last step of this repair, we're almost done. We're going to take a concrete sealer like UCO makes a product called Res Seal. It's a Euclid product. It's the last stage of this. The reason we do it is because it's going to protect the concrete from water penetrating it. It's going to make it more durable. It's actually going to cure it slower so that it will be more durable, impervious to salt, freeze and thaw, those kinds of things. You want your repairs to last. So just take that one step. We don't ship that product, it's too volatile, but you can order it from your concrete supplier. Any product that's comparable to res seal will work. It's just a medium solid sealer. In order to protect this repair now until tomorrow morning, which is when we're going to open it to traffic, 24 hours you can open it to traffic. We're going to put this poly cover on. It's a 1/2 inch thick polyethylene material. You can buy them off of our website. And it does a couple things. It protects the repair. It also protects it from rain. It protects it from frost, because think about it, it's 50 degrees inside that manhole and heat rises. So this material has a thermal quality to it, so when you throw it down on there, it retains the hydration heat of the concrete plus the heat that's just inherent to the manhole. We don't recommend that cars drive over it, although if an automobile drove over this, all it would really do is dent the concrete just a little bit. This will actually bridge the repair. You wouldn't have to completely remove that repair if a car drove over it when this is on there. So Galen's going to put a little block of wood on the lid, and all that's doing is it's just holding the poly pad up a little bit so it doesn't contact the fresh concrete. Now we'll just barricade the repair off and we're ready to go to the next one.